the game on the line, you can't fold and you can't bend. Y'all be playing it safe and I be going for the win. Remember back when they was doubting on the kid. Now they tuned in cause my game too legit.
Hey, what's going on, you guys? Welcome back to Forgiven AF Podcast. This is a second chance podcast. We use this as marketing material for our mentorship program. Y'all, man, it's super exciting for me to be back. I had a couple weeks off. I kind of got in a slump. It happens to the best of us, but it's just about admitting it and trying to get back on track. I'm not sure if I had like a brain fog on ideas or I don't know. I think opening the second gym, we just got that second gym open and, it's going in the right direction, but it's really exposed my unorganization, just to be fully honest. Like having all, with one, I could hide a lot of my disorganization, I guess is the word. But now it's starting to come to light, so I'm having to figure out how to fill in some of these, just a couple little problems and stuff. But everything's great. I'm excited to be back. I got an awesome guest on the show with us tonight. I'm excited for tonight. It's definitely middle of the day, but I'm excited for y'all to meet Ladarius Bascom and kind of explain how we met. But real quick, with the mentorship program, most of our kids, a couple of them did not finish what they needed to do to get their shoes, but most of the kids got their shoes for Christmas. We had one kid, his name's Antonio, earned his shoes, and it was really cool because instead of the shoes, he was like, man, can I just get the money for the shoes so I can give it to my mom because she's like behind on some bills. So we thought that was really cool. So we did that. We gave his mom the gift card, and then we had so many people that were so proud of him for doing that they were like, no, we want to get him shoes anyway. So they still donated the money to get the kid shoes, which is really cool. Tomorrow we have a community service event where we have a guy come. He's going to come speak to the boys, and then we'll go to clean the highway that we adopted. We adopted a highway here in Mansfield, so we'll take the boys, go clean the highway, and then after that we'll go to lunch. And that's pretty much where we're at with the mentorship program. We're still looking for, any funding and support is always a huge help. It's not cheap, but it's definitely worth it, and we've seen the impact already in these boys' lives. So it's really cool. Let me get to our guest. So our guest today is Ladarius Bascom. We met at the gym. I was working out at Lifetime, and when sometimes you meet somebody or you see somebody and you just kind of and maybe it doesn't happen to other people, but I feel like sometimes you can just already tell oh man, we got stuff in common. We got similar swag kind of thing, I remember I was on the squat rack and you were doing everything you had watched you do. I'm real observant, when with other people at the gym. I know you are too. Right. And I saw you doing all that functional stuff, and I seen you on the skier, and I'm over there just doing standard squats, right? But I'm watching all the functional type stuff, the way you're moving. I'm like, dude, this guy knows some stuff. This guy's definitely not just some random guy working out. And then you came up and you were like, hey man, what is that? How much? What is that? Is that 3 something? Talking about on the squats.
Oh yeah.
I was like,
I'll watch you squat.
And that's right and then that's kind of what took off. You gave me your information, and then I looked up your Instagram, and I was like, man, this guy's legit because you were training at Sanders Fit, which is it's pretty much a top-notch gym in the area.
Very top-notch.
I don't think it gets much better than that as far as trainers and ownership. But anyways, so we formed a relationship starting there, and he's got such an awesome story. And one of the things that I really want to start pouring into is there's so many men that get out of prison, and the recidivism rate is 80-something% in the United States. People that get out of prison go back. And after you shared some of your story with me, I was like, man, this is awesome. This needs to be told. We need to, show people that look it's possible to get in trouble, get back out, get it together, and make it. So first of all, thank you for being here on the show. Could you tell my guests who you are, where you're from, and stuff like that?
Yeah, man, I really appreciate it. Thank you for having me on the show. I'm Ladarius Bascom, as y'all heard. I'm from Louisiana, Shreveport, Louisiana, as it is. Pretty much a quick background on me, man. I was in sports. I played football. Just like anybody else, I took the wrong road. I wouldn't say the wrong road. God led me down a road that led me to this to help people. I had to make these mistakes. Pretty much coming out here, I was still on the wrong road, man. I was still thinking very instant gratification. Everything that I was doing, I just wanted something fast and I wanted it right now. Yeah. But just going back, thinking about everything, my background is pretty much sports. Everything as far as going hard, challenging myself, anything of that such. Just growing up, watching.
Where in Louisiana are you from?
Shreveport.
Shreveport, that's
Shreveport.
right. Did you grow up, were both your parents, did you grow up with both your parents?
I actually did. I grew up with my mom and my stepfather. He was there since I was born. I didn't know my real father growing up.
Yeah.
Everyone else did. I mean, I wouldn't say that he's passed away, but my stepfather definitely stepped up as a man.
That's cool.
And from the time, I never knew anyone else other than him.
Yeah, that's really cool that he stepped up and raised you just like you was your own kid.
Yeah, never treated me different at all. Like, you know, and I love him to this day. You know what I'm saying?
That's rare. You know what I'm saying? Like, I actually have one of my son's friends came over to the house last week, and he was like sad. And we were like, man, what's going on? He's like, his stepdad, right, has 2 kids that are about the same age as him, and he can't get that support from his stepdad that he gives to his other 2 kids. You know what I mean? Right. So like, the only reason I say that is that's a big deal that your stepdad was able to, you know, pour into you the same way he did his own kids, right?
Oh yeah, much respect for him for that, man.
So you moved to Texas.
Yes.
How old were you when you moved to Texas?
I had just turned 21 going on. Yeah, I just turned 21. I was back and forth, but 22 I was here solid.
Okay. And how old were you when you got in trouble?
24.
Okay. So from about 21 to 24, you were just kind of living like that same thing. I mean, I was in the same boat, bro. So like, you know what I mean? When I'm talking about this stuff, everyone knows I sold drugs and did drugs, and you know what I mean? So it's like, but the reason I'm okay to be open with like our stuff in the past is because we've been forgiven for it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like the only people, I don't allow it to like have any sort of weight over me. You know what I mean?
Right. And yeah, that's what came with the lifestyle. You know, Shreveport, if most people don't know, you know, it's a small city, very small city. Most people think of New Orleans when they think of Louisiana. And Shreveport is very much in bad environment all the way around. You know, you don't have to grow up in, let's say, projects or anything. You leave in one bad neighborhood to another bad neighborhood, you know? And we could say the product of our environment. You know, you be around something long enough, you know, you become it. You know, you're in school and you're seeing, oh man, you know, I went to middle school with him. And now he's driving such and such car with these big rims. I can't afford some Air Force Ones, you know, and I'm working at Kroger's. So eventually, you know, mom working 2 jobs, she can't afford this. Dad's still working, he can't afford this. Yeah. So you don't see a light at the end of the tunnel.
For sure.
Know? And then I took that same mentality coming out here, you know, and that was, of course, the wrong thing to do, but I didn't know any better.
Yeah, you're young. You know what I mean? You didn't, you hit it right on the head. It's that instant gratification. It's like, I know school or I know that I should do this is good, but it's going to be 15 years before I'm like doing you know what I mean?
Exactly.
But that's the only thing that lasts. You know what I mean? The instant gratification is just, it comes and then goes, right? It doesn't last. You got to put that work in. So tell us a little bit about what happened. You don't have to like tell us about the story of your crime, but what happened for you to get in trouble?
Basically, I mean, I'm open to it. I had committed 2 robberies. It was me and 2 other guys. One of them was a very close friend of mine, and we was basically like, if we had $20, you know.
It's like you had 10 each?
We got 10 each. And other guy, he was from back home, so of course we just decided, you know, times are hard, you know what I'm saying? Why would you commit a robbery? Not just because I want to, you know, do something bad or anything like that. It's because I'm hungry, because I want a better life or whatever. Again, instant gratification. I want the money now. You know, and we decided to make that choice on those nights. That changed my life, actually, you know. And the crazy part about it, that night before it happened, I told my homeboy at the time, he said, how you feel about it? I said, I feel like we're going to jail.
You kind of knew, right?
I felt it. I felt the weight. You know, it didn't feel like anything else I ever done bad in my life. You know, anytime else I don't care at the time, right? Yeah. But for that time, I just like, something's not right. Even though what we're doing is not right.
Yeah. Like, still, but you knew that there was more to it. It's almost like God was giving you a warning, like, hey man, I'm telling you this ain't for you, but if you do it.
Like, I'm trying to get you to change your life, and if you don't, I'm going to change it for you.
and I really like what you said, the way you worded, you know, God allowed me to go down this path so that I'm able to do what I'm doing now. And like, I couldn't agree with that anymore. That's the same thing with my life. Like, I look back and I don't have any of those I can't make any of those type of like reasonings like you can, where like, you know, your parents weren't able, like I grew up pretty privileged, like I really did. You know what I mean? Like I always had nice shoes. I always had nice stuff. And almost to where I took it for granted. That's what it was. I took it for granted, and I just felt like, oh, this is just what I deserve, what I get. This is me. And I was like, so for me, when I was selling drugs and doing stuff, it was because of this feeling of being the man, this artificial, this, like, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And now that as I'm saying that, I'm realizing in my head right now that I still do that, just in different ways. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's fitness or, you know, it's different stuff like that. So that I think that that's something that's still, that can get.
I mean, yeah, it definitely comes with that lifestyle also.
Yeah.
You know, you're doing this, so you got all the money.
Fast money,
You got all
yeah.
the friends, the girls, the cars, and that's what led us to it.
Isn't it funny how fast that stuff
Yeah,
scatters as soon as you get in trouble?
I promise. Like,
Who was
that's-
around once you got in trouble?
No one.
No one, right?
No one.
It's me too.
I literally couldn't even get $10 to get hygiene products.
Yeah,
people.
dude, I'm lucky that my mom was there for me, and then I, met someone in prison that I was training who really looked out for me tough.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, so you get in trouble, you go to prison. How long you sentenced to?
I was sentenced to 8. I did 5.
Okay, so but nobody was really like hurt in your, like, you know what I'm saying? No one was hurt in your crime.
No one was hurt.
I just want to say that just so people know that you
Oh, yeah,
weren't like
no one was hurt.
there was no like malicious like anything crazy. It really wasn't. I know the full story, and it's not like.
Yeah, it wasn't. No one was hurt. It was just more so, it falls under the law. You know what I'm saying? These are laws
It was
that were made, and
You knew, yeah. It was a dumb decision,
It was a
and
very
you
dumb
got in
decision.
trouble for it, right?
yeah.
So now you're in prison, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Right away, you're not like, okay, I'm in. See, for me, right when I got to prison, I was older, right? You were young still. When I went to prison, I was like 27. So I was to the point where I was like, dang, I've already messed up a big chunk of my life. I need to do better. So, but you said your first couple of years you were gone, you weren't all the way in that transition mode yet, right?
Oh, no, sir. No, sir. I was still a knucklehead.
When you first got to prison?
Yeah, I'm just be honest with you. I was still a knucklehead. It didn't set in to me at all or what was going on.
How serious? Like it?
Yeah,
Like,
I was actually mad at the world for something I did.
Yeah.
You know? I was just like, all of my friends are gone. I'm in this cage. You're treating me like an animal. I'm gonna be an animal. And
those are the mindsets of what happens when people get to prison. It's the almost like and I'm not saying this like towards you, but it's people get in that self-pity mode, like, dang man, I knew, man, start blaming everything else for the situation. You know what I mean?
yes.
Okay, so at what point did you decide, like, did you ever come across any like mentors while you were locked up that were like, hey man, like you've got too much potential to be wasting your life like this?
Oh, various mentors.
You did? Yeah, me
Various
too.
mentors. I remember the first guy, Ron. It was an older guy. He was very older. He had so much respect in the pod. You know how I go.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
don't mess with him. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? He usually has all the good stuff, all the good food,
Yeah.
and all this and that. And he called me one day coming back from visit, and I had just seen my son. And I, that look that you have,
Yeah.
like, what I'm saying? You're trying to hold those.
That's the
tears
hardest
back.
thing in the world.
Yeah, you dropping that head.
Yeah.
And he came over to me, and he's like, he said, you had a good visit? And I was like, yeah. I want to talk about it. And he was just like, I want to tell you something. You know what I'm saying? He's like, you have an opportunity right now to prove that you love your son. And I was just like, again, I'm a knucklehead. I'm just like, couldn't tell me now. I'm like, I do love my son. He's like, oh, yeah? You love your son? I'm like, yeah. He said, you can't love your son. I was like, what? He's like, you in here, and you consistently doing things in here, just keep yourself away from them. So how you love them? How you love your mom? How you love your sister? How you love anybody if you consistently doing things to stay out of their life?
Bro, I got chills all through my body right now.
Yeah, and it did the same to me at that time, man. Like, I was just like, I just looked at him. Like, every ounce of aggression I had dropped, and I broke down, like, in front of him, and he was just like, I don't want you to be like me. I'm gray hair. I'm in here. He's like, my kids are your age, So I was just like,
That's some real. That's
yeah. And it stuck with me, bro. Like, it stuck with me hard. And I sat there that whole night. And that next day, he gave me my first book to read. He said, you read this book, I got something else for you. And it was on meditation. It was on meditation. He taught me how to meditate and be at peace with myself because I was so angry.
yeah.
And
And kind of had to get out of your own head a little bit.
yeah, out of my own head. And he taught me a lot. He put a book about meditation in front of me. He put the Bible in front of me. And every time they called for church, he came and tapped, hey, let's go. You know?
See, that's like God working through that man in prison. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like that literally makes me want to cry. I swear to God.
Yeah, I'm fighting it back.
Because that's like that could be the turning point. Like we call it a pivot point. Like where was the pivot point in your life? And to me, that would be like a big, you know what I mean? It doesn't mean you were perfect after that since the first time he talked to you, because you still, but there was that point. I mean, think about it. We talking about it, and that's the first thing that you bring up for when you start. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I never forget that day. I never forget that day.
Because it's so true. Like we can claim we love people all day long because it's the right thing to say, and by saying it, we feel like we're, you know what I mean? But are we backing it up? Like I'm talking to myself right now, even when it comes to my family now. You know what I mean? Like I love my family. I tell them that all day. But am I doing all the things that show? You know what I mean? Like, but no. So that's awesome. So, so at that point, you've been locked up for how long? Couple years.
Yeah, I was on my second year by that point.
Okay. When did fitness become part of your life before you got out or while you were in?
While I was in.
Okay, that's how I was too.
Yeah, while I was in the county, it was small stuff. Like, it was some people like, you know how we all segregate ourselves.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I was with the Louisiana group.
Yeah.
And one of them was from Monroe, and that's what we called Monroe. And we was all doing push-ups at night, and I couldn't do 20 straight push-ups. Yes. I know people gonna be like, nah. I'm like, so serious. I could not do 20 straight push-ups. So you know what he did? He said, before we eat, you have to do 50 push-ups. I didn't have any commissary or anything like that. He said, you don't have to pay me back. I just want 50 push-ups before we eat. I don't care how you get them done. And like, so I of course need to eat.
Yeah.
You know, so.
And you got to do like, I mean, and people, I don't know if people understand in prison, who you ride with is like, you know what I mean? Especially when they have some like, what do you want to call it? Rank or, you know what I mean? Like stature, whatever they, you know what I mean? Wherever they stand in that.
And yeah, he definitely had that rank, and you looked at him, you kind of didn't want to go against what he said at the time.
Yeah, because then you probably, there's a whole bunch of people that come behind them too, you know?
Right.
So that's funny. So that got your like fitness game started. That was like the first time.
Yeah, and then from that point on, like after it was the 50 push-ups became easy, and then it got to working out on a regular, and that was kind of my outlet.
Yeah, me too, for sure.
So I was just like, anytime I get a bad letter or no one's answering the phones, no money on my books, I go work out. I get idle, I go work out, and I just carried that on, you know. And I really didn't care about what I looked like either. I wasn't doing it for looks. I just wanted to let out steam, and that's what I do. So I just, anytime they call a wreck or anything like that,
I'm getting out there, yeah. It's funny that you said, or not funny, but I'm glad that you brought that up about the, well, fitness is like, you can use it for weight loss, but then it's like, if it becomes something that you have to do, it becomes like an addiction. Like for me, I have to get my workout in. You know what I mean? If I go a couple of days without working out, I gotta find a way to like blow off some steam. So, and that's kind of how we get out of our own head. You know what I mean? Like just go get a hard workout in
of course.
And move on. Let's see. What would you say? Let's say, okay, upon your release. So when you get released from prison, right? Mm-hmm. Where you go back to, you come here?
Yeah, I came back to Dallas. My ex at the time, well, my girlfriend at the time, that went straight to her house.
Okay, what was the hardest part of you for that transition back at it? Because you did about the same. I did 6, you did 5. It's a whole different world coming home, and it's really uncomfortable at first.
Yeah, I didn't think that I would be as institutionalized as I was. Because, of course, you're around guys that did your sentence 3 times, you know. So I'm like, oh, I did 5 years. I should be all right. I should be able to transition back. The world was so different, you know, when I came home. But pride was a big thing because at the time, my girlfriend, she was a travel nurse. She was making a lot of money. She was paying all the bills, and I can't even find a job, you know. And, of course, she's telling me, like, you're fine. Don't worry about this. Just take your time, this and that. But it's still in the back of my head, like, you know, I'm a man. I don't want to.
So I'm like, this isn't planned. We didn't talk about any of this beforehand, but I'm so glad you brought that up because one of the biggest reasons for recidivism that I've seen is men not being able to get a job or make the money that they need to make to feel like what they, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then therefore go back to how they know how to make money. Like
exactly.
That's what happens over and over and over again. You know what I mean? Like, so I feel like prison, they need to do a better job of getting people, or even the world needs to do a better job of allowing people a second chances. You know what I mean? Like,
of course.
Because I know, especially in the industry that I'm in, the best trainers, I feel like the best trainers we ever see are just beast dudes out of jail that have, you know what I mean? They have that heart, they have that drive. They've been in business for themselves before. It just wasn't legal. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, it's crazy you say that because a lot of stuff that I see now that people claim very advanced, I'm like, man, Deuce was doing that in there because that's all they had.
Right?
Like,
Isn't that true?
It's so serious. Like, I'm like, y'all doing stuff with bands and balancing and stuff like that. Dudes doing that because they was limited space.
Because there was nothing else to do, yeah.
It's a broomstick and a water bag.
Water bag, bro. And now they're people are putting chains on weights to make it shake.
Yeah.
Like, we've been lifting shaky weights.
It's
Isn't that
done.
funny? My weight's been dripping on my foot. That's funny. All right, so let's talk about the fitness stuff. So at what point did you realize, hey, this is something that I think that I could do for a career? Was that why you were still locked up, or was that while you were already out? Or once you got out?
I trained people while I was locked up.
Yeah.
It was, I had various mentors with that.
While you were still in there?
While I was in there, actually.
Yeah.
So when I knew I had a passion for it, it's because I worked in the kitchen. You know, at first I worked in the kitchen. I was a baker. You know what I'm saying? You know how that can go. You can gain a lot of weight in the kitchen. You know,
yeah.
But again, I still like to work out. And I had a girlfriend that was very supportive. Very, very supportive. So she would send me all these men's fitness magazines and stuff like that. I'd be reading and studying stuff. And then I came across a guard in there that was very huge and very respected, you know, like very respected.
I forgot you told me that. This is cool.
Yeah, and he was more so, he had the keys to everything. You get on his good side, he can get you any type of job, you know, anything, right? Yeah. So he took a liking into me. He starts watching me work out. He seen my dedication with working out. Like, he'll see me out there on the rec yard. Like, he's like, okay, I see you actually trying to do stuff right. You know what I'm saying? Not out here just like playing around.
Sitting on the bench just with their friends.
And he see me actually, like, I went from one person working out with me to now I'm having 5 and 6. Like, we have a big group and I'm leading it, you know? So he started like...
Our stories are so similar, it's funny. But
it's crazy. He started sliding me like, you know, hey, here's a NASM personal trainer, but I know you can't get certified, you know what I'm saying? Because we're in...
But might as well start studying,
Start studying. Like, you know, I see you leading some guys, so here you go. You know,
and he's smart. He knows that that's a career that you could probably get out. No one has ever been like, oh, I want to work out with you, but do you have a felony? You know what I'm saying? So like, so it's a perfect career.
And again, I didn't think nothing of it. I just had enjoyment out of seeing my brothers that were overweight. Yeah. You know, having heart problems, having this type of problems, and now they're working out
all that, time. Right?
And the accountability in there was crazy. You already know, like, hey, we going to rec. Come on, turn out. And
even people smacking that honey bun out your mouth when they, you know what I mean?
Like make you feel bad if you finna eat like one of those, you know, those no-bake cheesecakes. But the accountability was crazy in there. That's seeing them transform and stuff in there was like, I started to see like, oh, I actually like to help people. You know,
you have to. That has to be part of it. You know what I mean? Like, if you get into fitness, you have to actually want to be in the fitness world because there's a lot to deal with. Like, as a trainer, I don't know if people realize you're like as much of a counselor to people as you are a personal trainer. You know what I mean? Like, literally. Like, so you're carrying a lot of different people's stuff with that job. Every single thing that people are going through in their lives, they're gonna let the trainer know everything. You know? Oh, yeah. So you have to actually want to be in that world. All right. So you're working out in there. What does that dude do? So the guard there, he gives you the NASM book.
Oh yeah, so he gives me the NASM book. I was just like, you know, nothing's free in there, of course. I'm like, so what I owe you for this? He like, you're gonna be an SSI. You know, you're gonna clean up. He say, but you're gonna clean up the gym. I said, oh,
like where the COs work out, like their gym.
It was more so ours, but when I get to go clean up, no one's out there.
Oh, so you get everything,
So cool. I can, COs of course watch me, but I get to go work out on my own. Yeah. You know, and I'm like, all right, cool.
That's an awesome job.
Yeah, he's like, so don't mess up at all.
Yeah, so I got that job very similar to that at the camp I was at, but it was the COs, it was the correctional officers, it was their gym, and it was sick. It was like a mile away, and I got to walk to the place, and I got to clean it. And I would clean, and we would hang out there with the big screen TVs. Like, me and my boy Rico were the only two people that got to work out there. But that was a plug too, you know, like getting to go work out in the CO's gym and clean it. So it's the same sort of.
Oh yeah.
All right. So then what happened? So you're out there cleaning the gyms.
Yeah, and again, I'm still thinking nothing of it. Like, you know, I literally planned to drive trucks, and I just wanted to get into business once I got out because I thought like this. I was like, all right, I sold drugs. I took a wrong turn and having a robbery. I'm an entrepreneur, you know?
Yeah.
I just need to focus this energy towards something positive.
It's so true.
And I started thinking in my head, well, since you're finna lock me away from society, when society sees me again, I'm gonna be a different individual, and I'm finna be like a bad individual, like in a good way though, you know?
Yeah.
Like you finna see me and be like, man, he's really on
Focused.
it. Yeah, he's focused. And I always use this term. I say, you give Bill Belichick, right, a couple weeks to plan for the Super Bowl. You're giving us years
To plan for, yeah.
you know, so I'm in a time capsule. So yeah, when you see me again, I'm gonna be healthy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be smarter.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be more intelligent. You know, I'm gonna have a different mindset when you see me, and that was my goal. And I knew I had to be a better role model for my son. So that was my goal the whole time. But I still never thought about fitness.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie.
No, but you already knew the seed was being planted, but you didn't really know yet at that point what God was doing around you, you know?
Yeah, God always works in mysterious ways.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a funny, that story is funny how I got it.
So once you got out of prison, that's when you started to focus on trying to get your certifications and stuff?
I still didn't focus on it, honestly. Like, I ended up just working out at Anytime Fitness by the house. Because I was just like, you know, I was on the ankle monitor when I first came home.
Oh, yeah.
So I ended up getting a job overnight, and I still had like a couple hours before I had to be back in the house. So my girlfriend at the time knew how important working out was. So she'd drop me off at the gym, go do what she needed to do, come back, pick me up. Or either I drop her off and take the car to the gym.
Yeah.
Again, this guy, Robert, he ends up seeing me work out. He said, "Are you a trainer somewhere else?" I was like, "Nah, bro. I ain't know like that was."
Like, I didn't know that was a thing?
Yeah, like I just work out. And he's like, "Do you want to be a trainer?" And I told him no like 3 times, honestly. I did, because I didn't think they made money. You know, I was just like, nah, man, I'm all right. I want to train nobody. I just want to work out.
Yeah.
You know, I'm still adjusting to society. I'm still kind of feeling weird with people around me. And after that 3rd time, that 4th time, he wasn't taking no exam. Like, he like, look, I'm going to pay for you to get certified.
What?
So anytime somebody does something like that for me, I'm like, all right, I at least owe you to give you everything.
To give it 100%. Yeah.
So I did. You know, I studied for it. He mentored me every step of the way, and I ended up getting certified. So I started out running group classes. Then I had like 2 clients to start off. I started off very small.
Yeah. That's awesome.
It was dope. I ain't gonna lie.
That's so funny because I had a doctor in prison that I was training him, and he was like, "Man, you got a gift for this, Shawn." He's like, "If you want to get any certifications, I'll pay for them."
Yeah.
So he paid for my certifications too.
Man, that's great.
But I was lucky. I was able to do it because I was federal, not state. I was able to take the test while I was in there. Yes. So it made it a lot. You know what I mean? It made it a lot easier because I didn't have nothing to do but study for that. All right, let's see. So now you got the gym stuff going. You got your certification. How do you get plugged in at Sanders Fit? Because the gym that you train out of, and I just want people to know, Sanders Fit, Melvin Sanders was a pro basketball player, and he opened this sick training facility in Dallas where, like, literally, I mean, you just showed me a video, Derrick Henry there working out, like, tons of professional athletes. Like, it's a real deal facility, which also means he doesn't just let anybody train there. So, like, how did you get that? How did you get plugged in there to be able to train at Sanders Fit?
Honestly, I was training at another gym, and I kept hearing about Sanders Fit, honestly. Like, I kept seeing it on social media, and I'm seeing the athletes and all that type of stuff there. So through a mutual friend, I was doing, like, some security work or whatever, and he's just like, "Hey, do you want to meet Melvin?" I was like, yeah, you know. And literally the exchange that we had was so powerful. When I walked into the gym, I felt love from the time I walked in the door. Like, he was, like, way across the gym, and he said, "Oh, hey, D, hey, I'm over here." And I was just like, I never even met this guy. He said, "Yeah, I already checked out your social media. I've been seeing you pop up on my feed a little bit." I was like, whoa. You know, at this time, I'm still adjusting.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, my social media was, like, trash. So I'm like, all right, you know, and he introduced me to everybody immediately, you know, and I was just like, man. He was like, yeah. He said, "I want you to train here." I said, "Oh. Okay." I said, "Well, I do want to train here." So
yeah.
I say it's a mutual respect on that one. And from that day, like, he's been an incredible mentor. Like, when I say someone who's on such a high level as him, to pour as much knowledge as he does into every trainer in that gym is unheard of.
That's really cool.
And not expect nothing in return. Like, I've been around guys that want to they would help me, but they wanted me to be them, like a baby version of them.
Yeah.
Melvin's not like that. He does stuff without anything in return. Like, he just wants to see us be successful.
That's so cool. And he came and spoke I went to a conference at Fellowship Church, and Ed Young, the pastor of Fellowship Church, I think works out. It might not be regularly, but he has worked out there with Melvin, and they showed a video of it and stuff. And Melvin was like the keynote speaker at the conference. And it was just really cool listening to him talk. And like, he's really done a really cool thing with all that. And the training athletes, that aspect of it is something I've never really gotten to, that sports specific. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, he's definitely good at what he does. And the thing is, like, he's not. I mean, I mess with snobby people. I'm sorry to say it, but I mess with snobby people in this world. And like, just like I was saying about Derrick Henry, like, Derrick came in there. Hey, Derrick, I want you to meet Darius.
Yeah,
he's new here. I know he wasn't here last year.
A lot of people would try to keep them people like that to themselves. Like, no, come on, we good. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Someone
like,
famous.
Don't talk to him.
Yeah.
You know, like, he immediately, like, Von Miller was in there. Hey, I want you to meet Von Miller, such. And I'm like, oh man, that's fine.
That's really cool. That's really cool. Yeah. That's awesome. Because, you know, the last episode that I had that I posted was with the Texas Rangers strength coach. You know what I mean? And he's training all these athletes, these professional athletes like that. Obviously, he's their coach. But so now we're going to the next level, which I think is really cool. And I'm going to start off with, so I don't know if would you call it your boss in your new career? What would you call it? Would you call it your kind of like basically like a business mentor in the tax world?
He would want me to say business partner.
Business partner?
Because he wants to consider us all bosses. But I consider him a great friend, a brother, a mentor, all the above. Like this.
Okay, I'm at this recording of Derek Johns has a Dear Son podcast, which is freaking amazing. For basically, he has conversations that he wished he would have had with his dad. He puts them on basically YouTube and different plays of that to help young men that just looking for some guidance, right? It's awesome. So we went and recorded a podcast out in Grand Prairie, and I met Anvalon Elliott and somehow we're talking, and I tell him what I do, and he's like, man, I need you to meet my friend. And he pulls out his phone, and he pulls up your profile and shows it to me. And I'm like, bro, I literally just met this dude yesterday at the gym. Like, it was the most random. It was like, it's a God. I consider that type of stuff signs from God, right? He's like, I don't believe in coincidences, right? So I was like, man, I just met him yesterday. So he FaceTimed you, right?
Right.
So he FaceTimed you. And it was just a cool connection, cool coincidence. So anyways, I started chopping it up with Anvalon, talking about, you know, he's into real estate. He does taxes. I mean, that he's connected all over. I'm talking Cowboys clubs. And he knows a lot of people. He's the real deal, right? So I'm getting to know him better, and then I find out that he brought you on like to start doing taxes with him, right? So I want to tell a real quick story about this dude because I just want like who he is as a person to be understood, because I'm gonna try to get him on this podcast.
Right.
We were sitting there the other day. He's helping me do the employee retention credit, which is this credit that you can get if you maintained employees through the COVID stuff, right? I'm not going to get a bunch of money, but like, why not try? Why not shoot for it and see what they'll do, you know? So he's helped me apply for it. And while he's doing that, some lady texts him and says, I'm not paying you. You trying to charge me too much for my taxes or whatever. Like, and it wasn't too much. It was basically like the fees that he had to pay. And she was like, you know what? Lose my number. I'm not paying you. Bam, and blocks him. And I was like, I got mad. Like, literally, I was like, what? Like, that's cool. How you gonna let her do it? And literally with the most calm, like, I don't even know how to explain it. And I hope it doesn't sound dumb because of how powerful it was. But he was like, man, as long as I do everything I'm supposed to do and I treat people the way I'm supposed to treat people, then I know that God's gonna take care of all these small things like that. He's like, I don't have to worry about it. I'm gonna get another person that's gonna show up today just because I didn't overreact in this situation. And to me, I'm not like that. Like, I want to learn to be like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I was like super impressed by just like the way he carried himself, and like that interaction really hit me because I'm like, there's times at the gym people like, you know, sign a contract for a membership and like the second month like cancel their card, so it just starts declining, and because they don't want to honor their contract, and I get mad about it. I don't like allow it to. I don't ever react or say anything ever. But I allow it to get me worked up, and he just was so mellow, like, you know.
Yeah,
so kind of explain to from your side how you got into the tax scene with doing the taxes with him.
I met him at a nutrition shop. Shout out 287 Nutrition, Beth over there. I met him there, I was getting my little routine shake because it's down the street from the house. And I was talking with Beth about training. I was doing security on the side. And I walk out, and Elliot walks out with me. So I'm like, of course, background. So I'm just like, why does it do that? Me? And he said, hey, man, you mind if I talk to you real quick? And I said, all right, what's up? We get to talking. And he's just like, yeah, I think we can help each other a lot. I was like, okay, He said, let's meet up, another day. So we meet up at a coffee shop over in Mansfield. And the stuff he was saying to me, I was just like, nah.
Like, you didn't believe him at first?
I didn't. I tell him to this day, like we were just talking about it, I did not believe that it was this real. And he told me, he said, hey, man, we're in Q4. Things are a little rough right now. He said, first week of February, your life is going to change. And I was like, all right, whatever.
Because we hear stuff like, think about it, especially in prison, all the plans of what people are going to do and all that. Like, you know what I mean? So you start to not really
I'm like, man, I hear this stuff all the time, man. Somebody go do this and that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand I put a lot into my education with training, so I'm just like, man, this dude's probably trying to use me or something.
Yeah.
But, like, he's truly genuine. Like, when I say he sat down with me, like, in endless nights, teaching me everything about taxes, tax law, even teaching me real estate, and I'm not even a real estate agent, and even about credit, business credit. I restructured my whole business because of this man, and he didn't want nothing in return, besides me be great, and he wasn't lying. The first week of February, like, my life has been totally...
that tax season. And it's cool because he'll even do stuff like, he'll be like, man, just send me your stuff and, like, let me just, like, show you what I can get you, like, what you deserve back, not, like, what I can get you because it's all legit, but let me just show you what I can do. You know what I mean? Because he's just, and he's got so many connections. I'm talking, he was sitting there, like, and just the connections that he had as we were working through the stuff. He's like, oh, I'll just call my aunt over at the, boom, boom, hey, what should we do about this? And she's like, oh, well, you need to do file number 2. You need to go down to the, like, he's got so many connections. I'm just like blown away.
He definitely puts you in a room without you being in a room.
Yeah.
Like, for sure.
Yeah. And
like, it's been plenty of times he called me and, like, I'm like, dude, he's like, I want you to meet somebody.
Yeah, right? He's such a connector. That's why I brought him on and asked him to be on our, like, board of advisors with the mentorship program.
Oh, yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah, and he was super excited about it. He's already, like, so I bought tickets to go watch, I think I said it, to go watch the 76ers play the Mavericks. I'm from Philly, so I love the 76ers, but then I also want to see Kyrie play, so it's going to be a cool game. And then he's like, yeah, and I'll just, grab our party bus and we can, get all the kids on the party bus. And I was like, party bus? He's like, yeah, I own a party bus too that we rent out. And I'm like, man, this dude, he's got like, and it's just cool, man. It's just, and the story, like, I'm going to get him on here because when you hear, and I know you know it, but his story of what he went through, like, high school years and after high school and stuff is crazy. Like, to be this young, successful, like, super successful black kid. And, like, he's younger than me, but I feel like he's like a mentor to me.
Every time.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I honestly,
it's crazy.
Found out he was younger than me until January, and I've known him since last September.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
just the way he carries himself.
Yeah,
He's just
like,
so.
You how old?
He loves to learn. You could tell he's just smart. I don't have that type of smarts. I'm more relationships and communicate.
Yeah, we all have our strengths.
Yeah.
And I feel like God puts us all around each other for a reason.
For sure. I couldn't agree with that anymore. Couple more things. One, how can my listeners find you? Like, what is the best way to find you? Probably Instagram? Like,
yeah, Instagram is always the easiest way to find me because I'm very active on Instagram. And it's Coach, COACH _ Darius, DARIUS .5. Not the O. Some people put an O in my name. But, yeah, find me on Instagram. I'm working on a website currently.
Instagram is probably the best way to do it.
Instagram is always the best way because I'm consistent.
I think it's the easiest way to connect.
I give people my emails, but you know how you get spam and all that type of stuff, and we check
stuff
emails.
Gets lost in email.
Yeah, I check my emails like once a week, not once a week, once a day.
Yeah, you don't want stuff to get through. Yeah, so say it one more time. So we got it's Coach COACH.
Yep.
_ Darius DARIUS.
Yes. _5.
Yes,
sir.
But that's cool. And then my favorite question. before I even ask you this question, I just want to let you know, man, I'm really proud of you, dog. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Like, since the first day we met, like how important and how big that is to get out of prison and to stay out of prison. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love to surround myself with people like that because that's hard. And I know that that is good to be able to support each other. You know what I mean? And to make sure that we won't, because it's easy to slip back into ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're going to come across different opportunities that sound good sometimes, and we got to weigh it out and find out what's, you know what I mean? What's worth it. But this is my favorite question that I ask everybody on the show is, what advice would you give to any 14 to 18-year-old kid that you wish you knew at his age?
Honestly, I always ask myself that, you know, because I know God always has a road for us, right? And we can either go left or right with it, you know, and he's going to use us the way that he needs to. So I would say be patient, you know, don't go towards instant gratification because it will cause a long-term heartache.
Yeah. Just
for fast money. And just as fast as you get it, as fast it will go. You know, anything that's instant leaves instant.
Yeah. No, I couldn't. I think that's awesome advice.
Yeah.
Be patient.
Be patient.
Put the work in. Like,
hard work does. I had a high school coach that always said that hard work pays off.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, all right, whatever. You just trying to.
Yeah, at that age, yeah.
But I see it now. Like, hard work does pay off. It may not come on your time, but it's gonna come. Yeah. It's gonna come in abundance.
And it won't if you don't. So what's the point? Like, why? You know what I mean? You're gonna sit around and blame everyone else, blame the world, blame the government. You know what I mean? You're gonna get up and do something.
You got to do something about it. You know. So,
I love it.
I tell every kid, man, like, just be patient, enjoy life, be coachable.
Oh, that's a good one.
Be coachable.
You don't know everything.
I know. I was one of those kids, like, couldn't tell me nothing.
Yeah.
Like, how you gonna tell me this, man? You know where I live at? You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, be coachable because someone has already been there where you at.
Yeah.
And I can't walk in your shoes for you, but I can try and guide you.
Yeah.
I can try and let you know, like, hey, you finna trip over something. You know what I'm saying? Just listen.
That's good. I love it. Like, why have to go through it when we did? Just listen to what, you know what I mean? I try to say, don't walk in my shoes that I went through then. You know what I mean?
Right.
But, man, I appreciate it, bro. I love you. Thank you for coming on the show.
Love you too, brother.
Remember, you guys, you're loved and you're forgiven, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. I'm going to get back on my consistency with these shows. I appreciate anybody out there listening, man. You know that I don't take it for granted that you spend time and listen to us with this. And my next step is, I think, getting these in the prisons. I got the setup to be able to get, because the prisons now have iPads.
Oh, yeah.
And I have a couple friends that have their podcasts on the, so that'd be cool for inmates to be able to listen. So that's something I'm gonna start trying to do, like a show like this, where we can, like, highlight people that have, you know, been able to make it out, you know?
They need it.
Yeah, I think it's good. All right, cool. Let y'all go. Have a good day.